the album process has been weird because, like, of course, like, I'm happy with how everything turned out. I'm happy that the album's out. Everything that I've worked for in this 3 years is finally coming to, and it's in front of everybody now. And, of course, I love that. But there's another side of it, and this last month has been, like, extremely emotional overall. Yeah, it's like this thing that I kept so near and dear to me for the last 3 years, it was the biggest secret. It was the best kept secret, and now it's for everybody to enjoy. Everything that I've been doing is for people to hear it, but weirdly, it's not mine anymore. It belongs to everybody else, and I don't know. Maybe I'm going insane, but, like, as an artist, you make it for public critique, but it's just, man, everything in the blink of an eye, it went from the biggest part of my life to a memory overnight. Literally, as the midnight threshold crossed over July 1st, it went from the biggest part of my life to a memory. And
right.
Yeah, just simple as.
On that night, I'm assuming you received a lot of reception for the album. But I want to know, was the reception everything you expected? And yeah, was it everything you expected? Was it better than you expected? Were they attaching to parts of the album you wanted them to, or was it just like the basic, oh, listen to the album, great job, bro? Like what was your experience on the reception to the album?
I don't know. Like, I feel like for one thing, it was overwhelmingly positive.
That's good.
Which was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that, I thought people were just going to hate it, like, off jump.
Yeah.
I thought everyone was going to jump into it and they were going to be like, shit's weird, fuck it. Like, I thought that's what I thought the reception was going to be. It was just going to begin and end there.
Yeah.
But no, like, people really fucked with it and were like, giving me my props for what I did. And that was what blew me away, for one. On the other end, though, it is a thing of, like, are people going to stick with it, right? That was the other thing for me of, like, because the day of is always going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Release date day is going to be great. That 24-hour stretch maybe is going to be everybody just giving you your props. This is your day. It's like your birthday.
Right.
It's like, this is the day you get the gifts. This is the day we're doing whatever the fuck you want to do. Let's go do this and this. The next day, it's just another day.
Yeah.
And you're back to it. That shit sucked. But it was also what I was kind of, like, working towards. It's weird because, like, it's like artistically I was working towards the meh of life.
You're working towards not working on the album.
That's weird.
It is.
And, Roshan.
Yep.
Roshan's a buddy of mine. He just had his third kid.
Right.
And I'm somebody that doesn't want kids.
Of course.
I have no interest in having kids, and I never really understood the appeal of having a kid. I'm like, you're literally giving up the next 18 years of your life, at minimum, usually, to take care of this kid. Like, I don't see the appeal in that. Like, you're just working endlessly on this person, and you just watch them grow up, and you get these little moments with them, and this is that. Like, I don't understand what's the appeal of that.
Right.
And, they were telling me, like, oh, you'll see one day, and this is that. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And now I'm working on this album, and it's 3 years.
Right.
Of nothing but this. And at times it was fucking frustrating, and it was, like, killing me on the inside, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And there was certain days where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, let me just throw it out.
Right.
What, we only got 4 tracks done? Throw it out there.
Just put
4-track album. Here you go. that was literally the point I got to at times.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, it was the most fulfilling experience of my entire life.
Right.
And that's when I was like, oh, shit, I get it now. Like, I understand. It was like my child for 3 years and now I'm at this point where my child's graduated and it's off doing its own thing. It's spread its legs. Not spread its legs. It's what's the word? Extended its legs?
Its wings.
Spread its wings.
It's legs.
Don't say that you love me if you know.
I didn't understand why, because my thing isn't that I'm saying the album was a child.
No, of course
my
not.
thing is saying that I didn't understand why you would want to put this work in for something like this. Like I didn't understand.
Right.
Why would you want to have a kid? That just sounds like nonstop work.
Yeah.
You're waking up in the middle of the night and you can't fucking go to bed because this shit's crying and it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And they just keep asking you these stupid-ass redundant questions that you've answered a million times and you got to be patient with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks awful.
Yeah.
But if that's what you want to do, if you want to be a parent, there's few things, if anything, that's going to be more rewarding than that.
That's true.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It's not about the fact that, I've raised a child. It's the fact that I'm now able to see, I have the clarity to see why somebody would want to be a parent.
Of course.
Because if it's something you want to do, I understand why putting in that work probably doesn't seem like work.
Yeah.
It seems like that is, it's so rewarding to see the little moments.
Of course, yeah.
Roshan was telling me like, oh, your kid will just look at you.
Yeah.
It'll just stare at you and you'll know, like, this kid, like, depends on you and you're the only thing that matters to this kid at this point. That's going to change one day.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I mean when I say, like, this secret that I kept for all this time, and it's just like now, life's different.
Of course.
Life's changed where this isn't just for me anymore.
No.
It's for the world, and it's spread its legs and it's hoed out, and now
It's hoed out. Yo.
Oh man.
So you worked on it for 3 years until the finished product.
Yeah.
A lot of changes went into that. I remember hearing the first draft of the album and thinking this is going to be great. But then I hear the final draft.
That was time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Dark Birthday hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, like
I
it
don't
was
think so.
it was when Merc was recording his stuff for you and I.
Yeah.
That's the last time I
Fucking
heard
hell.
anything on Don't Say You Love Me
Wow, that's crazy.
If You Don't. That moment to listening to it when it drops, holy shit, what the fuck happened, right? That's kind of how I felt. But what was your feeling as you were making these changes? Like what did the album start off as, and then what was going through your mind that made you decide to make the changes and to go into different directions and to go and until we got the final product that we did?
That's a good question. So, I've said I've been working on this record for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's the truth. And 3 years would take us back to mid-2018.
Yes.
Which is just, like, that's before A Dark Birthday came out. That's shortly after the diss track thing happened.
Yep.
Like, since then,
Right.
I've been considering making this album. Originally, the album was called the Love EP.
Right.
It was just going to be a small collection of tracks that were going to be romantic and, lovey-dovey. No real concept or theme to it. Or sorry, no concept to it, but the theme would all be, like, love songs.
Love, of course.
Right? That was my idea, and I was like, I just wanted to make that to, like, hold over, and this is that. It's a different, it's just so much had to happen. So much change and so much maturing had to happen to get to this point. And, like, I almost can't answer that question without going on some long-ass tirade about my life, which I won't do. But it's like it took a lot of, it took steps from being me in 2019 to me now for me to get to what this final product ended up being.
Of course. 2019, Dark Birthday drops. When you of course you said you started working on this before that was even released.
Yeah.
And I think you knew A Dark Birthday was going to be, like you knew it was going to be released your birthday 2019. Was it your intention at the time, working on both albums, that you wanted them to sound as different as they do? Because Don't Say You Love Me sounds nothing like A Dark Birthday.
I made A Dark Birthday knowing that I had Don't Say You Love Me If You Don't in my locker.
Okay.
Not meaning the record was in my locker, but in terms of I knew that ability was there. But I made A Dark Birthday as like the palatable intro to the fact that Yasin makes music seriously.
Right.
I was like, here, you can have A Dark Birthday so I can go and make Don't Say You Love Me If You Don't.
Right.
Right? I look at someone like Kanye West. Kanye had to make a college dropout or a late registration or a graduation before he could make an 808s.
Yes.
You can't launch with an 808s because it's not going to go anywhere because you're trying to break ground.
Right.
I had to make a Dark Birthday to just be like, I can do this, and just so you know that I'm here, take me seriously.
Right.
Here's this. Now let me go and make my weird shit.
Right.
That's what it ended up being.
Of course. So the album's finished. I think you told me the album was finished around the time the Wisdom Teeth freestyle came out.
Yeah. Around there.
You had 3 songs in between Dark Birthday and this album. It was That's Funny, Okay, and the Wisdom Teeth freestyle.
Yeah.
Crazy. And all
Only
those
3.
came out within a year. Like you had like a year and a half of no music.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-blowing. And then you just came back, dropped That's Funny, which at the time was one of my favorite tracks. Okay, a great instrumental. The Wisdom Teeth freestyle, another great track. Leading up to this album, and I feel that was part of the original, that was part of the rollout. You're kind of just getting back into the mood to release music and getting people kind of remembering Yasin makes music. Then you drop the actual rollout, in a sense, the 30-second videos.
The loading series.
The loading series, that's what it is.
The loading series came at the behest of a couple different things.
Yeah.
For one, budget.
Okay.
Making the loading series was much cheaper than my original idea.
Yeah.
Because my original idea required big production companies to come in and do filming, different film work for different things.
Oh, shit.
But also, COVID kind of stopped a lot of my initial pretenses for what I wanted the album to be.
Right.
So, making the loading series, in my opinion, I think it ended up being better than what my original plan was.
Yeah.
Like, I think, just these small, short clips, exemplifying, these ideas and these ideals within it. Because if you go watch it, the loading series, those 8 clips are not random.
Yeah.
They are very on purpose. They all mean something, and they all lead into the next clip in different ways.
Right.
So they're all very intentional. That ended up being, it became my directorial debut, which was crazy.
That's insane, yeah.
Just looking at like written by Yasin, all this kind of stuff, produced, directed by Yasin.
It was all you.
And fuck a budget, I think it was. Fuck a budget, it's all me.
Right.
And it's like, goddamn, but I meant that shit.
Yeah.
Because that rollout along with this album, I'm like, it's fucking me. This is me through and through.
Yeah.
Nobody can take this away from me. Nobody can take credit away from me for what was done great here.
Of course.
Now, I have to wear what doesn't work, but if I'm being honest, I don't think there's much that didn't work. I kept my cards very close to my chest.
Of course.
Throughout time.
Yeah.
Because I was really trying hard to not let people know what I was doing.
Right.
I made Don't back just before A Dark Birthday came out. I want to say maybe a month or 2 before.
Yeah.
And when I made that track, I knew 2 things. 1, this has to be the intro to the record.
Yeah.
2, this isn't going to be an EP.
Okay, yeah.
This has to be an LP. It has to be an album.
Yeah.
But 3, it was, I need to make sure nobody knows that this is what's going to hit them. Now, granted, Don't sounds much different now than it did then. It's been through many different versions. I think this is, I want to say the 13th version of Don't.
Right.
I think the 13th. I'd have to count. I've never actually counted it out. I think it's 13 versions, though.
Yeah.
So it's very different from what the original Don't was. But it was a thing of, you know, this is, like even at the time, I was like, this is amazing. I need to make sure nobody knows that this is what's going to be on the next album.
Yeah.
So when they listen to that album, they're going to be blown away. And I like to think that that's what happened in this process.
I think so. Yeah, just to get into the album in general, with Don't, huge start. Like you said, when you first made it, you knew two things, and one of them was this is going to be the intro, and just a hell of an intro. 3 minutes of instrumental, then it gets into the song, and just that initial instrumental, this calm.
Yeah.
I think even just listening to that in the beginning, nobody could have known where the album was going to go from there.
For sure.
And it went so many places. Like, it's hard to talk about, like, where it goes from the start of Don't to like, even if you go to the end of Love still has a very calming ending. Like, if you were to just listen to the first minute of Don't and the last minute of Love, you'd think this would be such a mellow, like, chill album. And you would be dead fucking wrong,
yeah, you'd
right?
be wrong.
Which I just think is amazing. In making that sound for an album-wise, though, was that your intention of, like, you had a starting point, you had a finishing point, you wanted to start low, gain speed, and just kind of this big arc, sound-wise, really, musically-wise, where it's just low, high, low. Like, is that kind of what you were going for with the sound of the album in general?
I wanted the album to be this giant fuck-off monster that you don't know is in front of you until it's in front of you.
Right.
So, looking at Don't, and that, like you said, it's 3 minutes of build.
Yeah.
I view that as, like, it's the calm before the storm.
Right.
3.5 minutes of it, of just build. And it gets weirder and weirder and weirder as every additional thing takes place.
Right.
Right? That, to me, is something that doesn't actually just explain the song. Because, of course, there's that middle portion of Don't that's this eruption, this theatrical,
beautiful.
Don't say that,
yeah.
you love me if you don't. And it's like this giant ball of fucking noise and so many different things going all over. That's one thing, but the reason that the intro is actually 3.5 minutes is because this isn't the calm for the intro's storm. It's the album. The entire album is the storm.
Okay.
So there's all of it is this giant whirlwind of noise and weird that you're entering. Easing people into that with 3.5 minutes of strings and pianos and easing them in at 3.5 minutes for a 45-minute record.
Yeah.
That's what was important. The same way that the outro kind of eases you out of the record.
Right.
And that's 5.5 minutes of easing you out of the record.
Oh, yeah.
So that is what was important to me when I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I felt like that translates throughout the record.
I feel it was accomplished very well. It was, again, it's noticeable. It's noticeable that, like, you look at songs like Picture of a River.
Yeah.
Highest of highs, and then what's it called? I always forget the name.
Which one?
Final Farewell.
Yeah.
Love in the Family.
The calm of the early 2000s.
Calm of the early 2000s. I always think it's like ode to the early 2000s.
That's it. It could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. We'll see if it gets changed.
I feel like by the time you get to Picture of a River, you're kind of like trapped into this storm. Like
exactly.
You kind of have to weather it now.
You're supposed to accept your fate. Mm-hmm. And then you go from there and you go to that journey to the Final Farewell. That's like you leaving the hurricane. where Don't You Enter, Picture of a River, you're in the middle, and it's kind of just like this beautiful calm. Like, and I say beautiful calm because it's like that harmony, right? That harmony that just personifies the album. And then you go to Final Farewell, and that's like leaving. And that whole journey, I just think each song just kind of perfectly flows together as one album.
Wow,
And it's something that's done really well. It's done really well too. Is that no song is like another.
Yeah.
Each song is
That's something I'm
different.
very proud of on this record.
Yeah. But the album seems right in a sense.
Cohesive.
It's cohesive. It's congruent, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful in that sense. But I was talking about Picture of a River. I want to talk about something that I hope a lot of people mention. Vicky's harmony.
She's the best.
Perfect.
She's the best.
Perfect.
Yeah. Vicky came into this record. I brought her over one day to work on Love. I made the track.
Right.
And actually not even. I'm lying to myself. That's not true. I brought her in for a different song. What song was it? Fuck, I can't remember.
Did the song make the album? Or?
No.
No.
There was a song that, like, Vicky was going to come over for. I don't remember what it was now. But when I knew she was, like, locked in to come over, I was like, actually, let me, like, let me make a song for Vicky. So I made the riff for Love.
Okay.
Which is just the plucky guitar and whatever.
Yeah.
And I made that. And I remember I made that guitar riff. And I was like, this is fire. And she came the next day. We caught up. I think she got to my house around 1 or 2.
Right.
By the way, I've known Vicky like my whole life, just so people know.
Yeah.
She's like, one of my best friends, younger sisters and whatever. And,
Yeah.
So that's how I know her. But I invited her over because I knew she could sing. And I made the song. And so she came over maybe 1 or 2. We sat there for like 2 hours just catching up because I hadn't seen her in years.
Right.
And then afterwards, I was like, okay, here's the track. I played her the track. We wrote it together. That took us like maybe an hour or so. We recorded it. That took us like 2 hours. And then it was done. And I was listening to it, and I was like, wow, this sounds great. And she was so easy to work with. And she was like such an angel to be around.
Yeah.
In terms of, nothing was problematic. Everything was just on point all the time. She would do something, and I'm very, for people to know, I'm very particular.
Perfectionist.
I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my music and the way that I do it. So I can be hard to work with for people who don't want to work.
Of course.
So with her, I just was sitting there and she did one thing and it was like, it was literally every time. I promise, I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
I would be like, do whatever you want to do. But like, I'll tell you if it doesn't work.
Right.
So she'd try something and it wouldn't work. And I'd be like, do it this way. Right?
Yeah.
Just hold me close. Do it like that. And then she'd do it, and she would do it better than I could have ever imagined it sounding. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was like a cheat code. It was like a cheat code where I'd be like, do this. Going back to Picture of a River.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want as long as you end it on.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want in that bridge. It has to end there, though. And she'd do it, and she'd fucking demolish it.
Yeah.
Every time without fail. So yeah,
Amazing.
she's the best. Like yeah, love her so much. She saved this record in so many spots.
Yeah.
That would have been issues for me for sure.
I was like, we went right from Don't to Picture of a River, but I want to talk about Fair Enough for a bit. Because I feel the spot it has on the record is a little unfortunate for the song, because I feel like Don't and Picture of River are like two of the most iconic songs,
For sure.
like just in
That's
production
fair.
value.
That's fair.
But Fair Enough, I think, Fair Enough is something I don't hear enough people talking about. When
Depressingly, yeah.
depressingly, because like it just, I remember when I first heard it, I thought, great song. I love the way it starts with the drums and it comes into the like the triangle, I guess. I don't know what it is.
It's a marimba.
A marimba.
Yeah.
But then it slows down and then it gets into just the song in general, and it's just great. But then I hear more, I listen more, and I try and listen more to the lyrics, and it's just amazing. But what are your thoughts on Fair Enough? Do you honestly think it could have benefited from a different placement on the album, or is that like the only place it could have gone?
That was the spot for it.
Yeah?
It needed to be. I consider Fair Enough to be the intro after the intro.
Right.
It's the unofficial intro of the album. I looked at this album the way I sequenced it. I looked at it like a movie. Okay?
Okay.
Don't is the cold open.
Okay, yeah.
You are dropped into a scene, right? Like whatever it is. Let's say there's some shit going on and you don't know what the fuck's going on, but like you're getting introduced to these characters here
Right.
without knowing who they are. That's what Don't is. Fair Enough to me was like the opening credits,
Okay, yeah.
where you just see do 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 do, and I kind of see that as like almost like the camera just panning through the city, letting you get used to the setting of everything that's going on around you.
Okay.
And like the opening credits are flashing up, starring Vin Diesel and Mekhi Phifer, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what movie that is, but anyways, it's my movie apparently.
Yeah,
So
it's Yasin's movie. That was the rollout. So yeah, you go Fair Enough, you go Picture of a River, then you go into Rain.
Well, actually, sorry. Before we go into later, Fair Enough to me, I think you were asking earlier. You're like, not a lot of people mention it, and the thing is that to me, that was something that for me, I thought people would have gravitated more to this song.
Okay, yeah.
Just because, like, of course, Don't and Picture of a River are such grand moments, and
Yes.
this is more subdued in comparison.
Of course.
But this song is so electric, like the pacing of it and whatever.
It is.
And I heard people tell me, like, when reviewing it, they were like, the nitpicky part of me wants to say your conversational flow is more laid back or stripped back than the rest of the record.
Right.
But to me, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know if people really listen to what's being said on this record.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think it ends up being some of the strongest verses on the entire record, and it sets up the rest of the record to be what it becomes.
Right.
You know?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I felt like I came with it on this one.
Yeah.
And I feel like lyrically it just goes into these themes. Like, Fair Enough is kind of, it attacks the idea of complacency
Yeah.
and apathy to your own story.
Right.
So when it comes to love, like, again, this album addresses different aspects of love. This track is about self-love, self-awareness.
Yeah.
What matters if nothing matters?
Right.
That's what this song goes after, and I think it needed to be more inquisitive than it needed to be, me
Grand.
spazzing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah,
That's true. That's true. Again, I do think, like I said, every time I listen to it,
underrated track, I think.
I hugely. We'll touch a bit on Rain on the Window. Obviously, it's the interlude. And I just think, like, as the interlude, it slows down the album a bit, and it kind of, I think it gets the album or the listener ready for the next part. But there's obviously a lot more, because if it was just something to slow people down, it would have just been the instrumental. So I just kind of want to hear what people may miss from Rain on the Window. Like, if
Yeah, Rain on the Window is, so I wrote that in a cafe in Vancouver. I was sitting there with a buddy of mine. He was working on, I think he was writing or he was drawing. I can't remember what he was doing, but he was doing something. and he brought me. I was staying with him, so he brought me along with him, and we were in this cafe, and it was raining outside, and I was looking at this guy and the drive he had artistically, and it just spawned so many thoughts in my head that I felt like isolated, like I felt like alone in my thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what Rain on the Window is at its core. It's your thoughts and how you feel like you're almost like secondary, like you're passenger to your own body.
Right.
It's the rain on the window. You just watch the world pass you by. I'm looking outside of my eyes right now, but I feel like I'm almost subject to the subconscious.
Yeah.
I'm just not a part of the motor function in anything. I'm just sitting there. Have you ever seen the Black Mirror episode where there's like the teddy bear
Yeah.
and they're in there and they can only press yes or no?
Yeah.
It's like that, where it's like
man.
I'm almost sitting in this chair inside this void,
Yeah.
watching everything play out, and I can't really do anything except react or do anything. So it's like the rain on the window.
Yeah.
Watching, you know, maybe the tears from your eyes, or literally being as a human being trapped away in the attic of your own insecurities and your own whatever.
Right.
It's a commentary on the mental health of the time, and it's dark and it's grim, but it's real. It was what it was. It was exactly where I was at.
You go from Rain on the Window to I'll Pretend to Know You. Great track.
Banger. I don't give a shit.
I'll Pretend to Know You, man. It just like I said, Rain on the Window slows it down. I feel like I'll Pretend to Know You changes the tone of the album completely.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, you have these two tracks, Don't and Picture of River, that are just grand. Then you have Fair Enough, which is real. And then you get to I'll Pretend to Know You, and it takes a more real approach, but as it progresses, it just gets hectic. Like instrumentally wise, it gets chaotic, and it goes in so many different places, and it's incredible. I want to know, what was this song, putting it on the album, was it kind of I guess Rain on the Window is an interlude, but did you want it to be a somewhat restarting point? Kind of, you're going into the next chapter, you're going into this next part of the album that's not going to be the same as the first part.
Yeah, but so with Picture of a River, because it all ties together, everything's a narrative.
Of course,
in this record. Picture of a River delves into optimism,
right,
and the delusion that surrounds optimism sometimes. I'm somebody that can be very optimistic at times, but that's the inner commentary I have with myself of like, are you just being optimistic just to be optimistic?
Yeah.
Or are you actually optimistic?
Right.
You know, hope's hard to navigate. When am I in charge of my narrative, and when am I just being delusional?
Right.
Right? Understanding that and going into I'll Pretend to Know You. So, in 2019, I lost my uncle.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Of course.
It was fucking shite.
Yeah.
Right? But going to this funeral, it started to piece a lot of things together to me about the human condition,
Right.
and about the idea of love. Again, going back to the idea of love within the record. And this song, if you listen to it, it talks about this funeral, and it talks about death, and it talks about, you know, I'll pretend to know you, I'll cry at your funeral, then forget I knew you, and all this kind of stuff. And it's the fact that there's so many people I only see at funerals.
Yeah.
And I never see him anywhere else. I'll see him at a funeral. They'll be like, oh, my God, I can't believe we lost it. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
I've seen you before, but the only other time I've seen you is when someone died.
Yeah.
Who are you? This is a genuine issue, and it became this thing that was plaguing my mind, where I'm like, this isn't love.
Yeah.
You know, when people die, it's easy to say that you love somebody.
Yeah.
Because that other person is no longer there to verify whether or not they were loved by this person.
Right.
So you can say whatever. This is what I'll Pretend to Know You is. And it's this idea of death, love and death can kind of come hand in hand in this weird, twisted, demented way.
Yeah.
And this trauma porn that is tragedy in the modern day, that's not love.
No.
But what is that not love towards? And that's what I was, trying to explore throughout that. Yeah.
Something I didn't catch. Something.
It's dark. Like
It is
I said,
dark.
I'll Pretend to Know You is probably like maybe the most morbid verse I've ever written.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up. And you listen to those words and you really digest it. And it's like, wow, because this is the one song I think on the entire record. I don't think there's another song on the record that matches it that's as blunt
Yeah.
as I put it on this record. This record is not metaphorical. It's all very in your face, and it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable
Right.
with the subject matter because it is uncomfortable.
It is.
Death, I don't know when along the line death just became,
Yeah.
like so many people now are just like, oh, well, people die,
Yeah.
right? And especially with COVID and what happened in the last year, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, people are so apathetic towards death.
Yeah.
All these people are dying, and people are just like, people die every day.
It happens.
I'm like, you wouldn't try to prevent that? No, people die. You're going to die one day.
Yeah.
That to me is just, it's ridiculous.
That's true. I guess, and that does take a huge turn because you go from I'll Pretend to Know You, very blunt, very dark, very depressing song, and you go into Ambition.
Yeah.
Which is very depressing, but on a completely different way.
It's the darkest song on the album.
My favorite song on the album. My favorite song on the album. In my opinion, it's the most perfect song on the album.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Because just the way it starts, this and again, like especially coming after I'll Pretend to Know You, this upbeat drum beat. What are the first lines of it? What are the first lines?
I stay up at night.
Right. I hate the process of waking up. And it's just that first line just hits you like, Jesus Christ, what?
Yeah.
And then it's shit like that through the whole fucking song. And it's still this upbeat, grooving tune. Grooving, funky, fucking let's dance this. It's like, and the whole time I'm listening to it, I'm like, I want to dance this, but how the fuck do I dance to this song?
But you can't not.
Exactly.
You can't not.
You can't not because it's
the
just
groove is crazy.
It's incredible.
So, okay. So, I'll Pretend to Know You. I didn't actually answer your question earlier, but I'll answer it now.
Yeah.
I'll Pretend to Know You ends on this Latin jazz rock, like, what the fuck, blow up. Yeah, go ahead. It's like, it just ends on this different level, like, Latin rock track, which is one of my favorite parts on the entire record. I love that, just like the guitar solo at the end and everything. And again, the track, for people out there, just to make sure that it is intentional.
Yeah.
The track is made to represent the track's themes.
Right.
So I'll Pretend to Know You is the same as like you pretend to know what the track's gonna be like. And it ends in a completely different spot than what you thought you knew.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
So it starts off with this super mellow, like, do-do-do, almost like a smooth jazz standard. Do-do-do. It starts there, and then it just ends at the doon, do-doon, doon, doon, do-doon, doon,
right,
doon,
and it
doon,
just
doon, doon. And like,
damn.
and it ends on that fucking like one of my favorite pieces of the record is just at the end of the guitar solo. It just goes crazy. It's like bom 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 bom.
Right.
Bom, bom,
Oh
bom.
my God.
And that for me is like. It's like you would never, if you hear that, you would never guess it's the same part as the first part.
That's true.
But it's because you don't know this fucking track.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. It's all this representation of the anger, the angst, the feelings, the next level tempo that you're existing at, right? So now going into Ambition with that. Ambition is this driving beat. By the way, for people, the track's called Ambition. In brackets, though, it's
Right.
called The Rhythm Holds Me Still.
Right.
This is the thought process, the artistic process, the rhythm of life holding people still. Just the fact that you get stuck in this groove. This is comfortable right here.
Yeah.
And no matter what's thrown your way, the rhythm of life will not let you move from your spot unless you actually choose to break out of it.
Right.
Complacency, inambition, inactivity, that is something very important to me in qualities that I see in people.
Yeah.
Because I see people that they can be more than what they're putting on here,
Yeah.
but they don't choose to be because life has got them comfortable.
Right.
Life has given them a certain rhythm that they can follow forever.
Right.
That's what this song is. It's so depressing, this song.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, people keep dancing.
Yeah. They
Right?
keep-
I can't sleep. People are dancing to the fact that I can't sleep, about my paranoia, about my demons. People are
Yeah.
dancing about the fact that about my problematic issues. Later on, as my mental health decays,
As my mental health decays.
and people are just like dancing
Yeah.
to the fact that like my mental health is literally dropping.
Yeah.
And like at the end with as my self-worth collapses, and it's like it just gets darker and darker and darker and deeper and more introspective.
Yeah.
And finding the path of almost this borderline, like what's the word for dictatorships? What's the word?
Oh.
Tyrannical.
That's
This tyrannical thought that's plaguing this track doesn't disrupt the rhythm. The rhythm keeps going.
Yeah.
Life keeps going no matter how many things get thrown in.
Right.
And the fact that I'm just skipping past every one of them without really whatever, right? The chorus on it.
Right.
I'm too good to be poor. I'm too poor to be talented. I'm too talented to be broke. I'm too broke to be ambitious. These are real.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but for everybody.
For everybody.
Everybody will say these things about themselves. They will make excuses. And the thing is that this doesn't... there's a fine line. So oftentimes with like an alcoholic or somebody that's like a recovering addict, the first thing that they tell you to do is to acknowledge the problem.
Right.
To say like, if you acknowledge like I am an alcoholic, that is the first step to solution.
Recovery, yeah.
Right? But the thing is that there's a fine line between acknowledgement and just creating an excuse for
Excuses,
something.
yeah.
So for example, you know what? Like just starting off as an acknowledgement, I'm too broke to be ambitious right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a job. I'm going to go and get some money so I can go and pursue whatever ambition I have.
Yeah.
But now if you just continue to perpetuate this idea that I'm too broke to be ambitious, I'm going to be like, no, you're just forging an excuse now.
Right.
Because you're not doing anything about your acknowledgement. You're
Yeah.
not trying to grow out of it now. You're literally just staying in this space and using this thing as an excuse as to why you can't do whatever you can do.
Of course. Because I feel with this song, like you said, like people just, they keep dancing. No matter what you say, they're going to keep dancing. And I feel just the way you attack the song, you can't do it any better. And if you do it any worse, it fails.
And I also think you can't help but feel the things I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, even though you're dancing, you can't help but, because it's so bluntly, I'm not
It is.
rapping, I'm not spitting a million
no
things.
metaphors here.
I'm not spitting a million things at you. No, there are metaphors,
Sorry,
but it's not. I'm not spitting a million things at you.
Yeah.
I'm giving you very small increments, so you can hear everything I'm saying, but you can't help but like the groove's too infectious.
Yeah.
The groove's too infectious for me to, completely deter you and to completely derail you.
Right.
You're going to be bobbing your head. You're going
Yeah.
to be dancing. You're going to be grooving. Period.
Yeah.
No matter what I say.
Yeah.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
And where I'm at, it's like I can't say that I'm facing a depression.
Yeah.
Because it's not true. I'm very happy
Yeah.
in where I'm at and what I'm doing and all this kind of stuff. But the thing is that these thoughts creep in all the time, no matter what.
Right.
So this life that's pedaling forward, the rhythm that keeps going, the everyday rhythm of stuff. I hate sleeping.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
No.
I don't like sleeping. Yesterday I was getting legitimately pissed off with the fact that I was sleeping. Like, I'm not
Damn.
even joking. I was pissed. I was like, why the fuck am I sleeping?
Yeah.
Because I have to.
Yeah.
This is the one thing in my day that I have to do, no matter what.
Yeah.
I have to sleep. Because if I don't sleep, tomorrow's going to be fucking hell.
Yeah.
There's nothing else in the day that I have to do like that. So this regimented whatever, it genuinely pisses me off. And ambition is just exploring that rage.
Right. You go from these two songs, I'll Pretend to Know You, Ambition, real heartbreaking songs, and you go into just when I first heard the song. So they told a 9-year-old to be strong.
Yeah.
When I first heard the song, I said it might be the most real song on the album.
Yeah.
I want to use a different word this time.
Okay.
The most literal song on the album.
I actually don't find it to be the most literal song on the album.
Okay.
I think I'll Pretend to Know You is a bit more literal, like just directly like attacking you. But I do think this is one of them. And I think this has probably some of the most literal, real moments on the entire album. Like, I think the stuff about the beatings and like all that stuff. Like, I think that's very, very literal, and it's meant to be haunting and scary.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this track is almost like a horror movie, and it's in the way it sounds.
It is.
And that is what to me was the intention, and I needed it because I wanted this album to get darker as it progressed. It is the one time on the record where I'm like, this isn't about you.
Yeah.
The listener, that is.
Yeah.
This isn't about you. This is about me. This one point where we're talking about the idea of love, and we're talking about that. It has to build to this point.
Right.
There's nowhere else it could go. This is where we are at to where we answer the question.
Yeah.
What is love? What is the meaning of love? Right? What the don't ends with is love a given or is it earned? Do you love with your heart or your mind?
Right.
And it sets up the rest of the record. This is where the answer ends up.
Yeah.
Is here in sadness, in heartbreak, in these dark moments. That's where you really understand what the meaning is.
Right.
And what people take out of that is what they take out of it. But for me, it was a thing of, this is where I'm going to find the answer to my question.
Yeah.
What matters? What's optimism? What does it mean to be loved? What does it mean to be in these dark moments and to still understand love? All these things are encapsulated and answered in this one track.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Feels like you're walking through like a spooky graveyard.
Oh yeah.
Of just like skeletons in the closet, and that's
like you're
kind of
you're
what I was.
cold.
Yeah.
You're cold and alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
For
last track your voice is featured on, or rapping lyrical wise you're featured on.
Yeah.
And you have 2 more left.
Yeah. I've got like another 10 minutes in the record.
Exactly, which I think is incredible. So we go into Final Farewell, Love in the Family. What is it? What?
The calm of the early 2000s.
Fuck me. Calm of the early 2000s. Completely instrumental track. Starts off, in my opinion, similar to the end of I'll Pretend to Know You, and just this upbeat, chaotic beat. Just you're going in hard, right? But then, and it goes. What I love about this track, what I love about your music, and what I think makes you great is the fact that you will make up a beat, but the beat's not going to stay the same the entire song.
Yeah.
The beat's not going to be there. It's not going to be something to keep your tempo and to keep you on track when you're rapping, when you're singing, whatever. It has a personality of its own. Stuff gets added, stuff gets taken away, and this song, with there being no lyrics, truly personifies that fact.
Thank you.
It's even though there's no lyrics, it's one of the most incredible just instrumental things I've heard, especially the way how it gets more chaotic, then it just kind of stops, and then it just this
bursts out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it ends with like this isolated feature. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
But why did you stop singing though? Was it for that reason? You wanted to just personify your music making skills, or did you just feel you were done? You felt that they told 9-year-old to be strong that's all they need to hear from you.
Okay, a couple things. One, my initial intentions for the record was that I wanted to shut the fuck up. I didn't want to hear me on the record, but it ended up being what it became.
Yeah.
But two, this is me speaking.
Okay, yeah.
Just not vocally. This is not just an instrumental. There's a lot going on here.
Right.
But it's all evocative,
yeah.
provocative, emotive. It's all that, and it tries to grasp the listener's attention through what are you feeling in this moment after this journey you've been on to hear this. What are you hearing?
Right.
It's almost like my therapeutic blotch painting.
Right.
Where you go, what does this look like to you? Right?
Yeah.
That's what this track is.
The Rorschach, that's what it's called.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's that where it's like it's the blotch painting of just, what do you see? And that is what this is. It says everything I need to say here.
Right.
And I feel as though they told a 9-year-old to be strong, like you said. I think that was just it for me. I was like, I want to leave it there, because if I don't leave it there, what else? There's nothing else to attack here. Right now.
Yeah.
Vocally.
Yes.
I've said everything I need to say. I've spoken everything I want to speak. I've experienced and explored my points. And there was a while where I was trying to force 2 more tracks of lyrics.
Okay.
Where it just came down to me being like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Who am I making this for? Am I making this for me, or am I making this for everyone? And that's when I decided, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna.
That's it.
That's it. They told 9-year-old to be strong.
Amazing.
It really is, like, it's one of my favorite tracks on the entire album, because it's eclectic, it's erratic, it's grand.
Yeah.
But it's also grounded, and I think that switch up halfway, not towards the end, but in the middle, we're just kind of like all just
yeah,
and you're like, whoa, and then before it goes into the guitar solo, little piece, that bridge is like, it says so much without saying a single word.
It does.
And that's why I love it.
Was there any part of you that thought of just ending the entire album after they told a 9-year-old to be strong?
No.
Love
was always the outro.
It was always the outro.
Love was always the outro.
Then let's get into Love.
Fair.
I love this track.
Yeah.
Amazing outro.
I'm confident in what I do, and I believe in what I do, but it needs to be right. It needs to be perfect. If it's not perfect, I'll think of something else to do.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a half-assed. You kind of work, so fuck it. It doesn't end up being that.
It has
I will literally scrap a great track if I can't finish it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And the feature process, it is a thing of, like, it had to be Vicky killing that shit.
It did.
It had to be. If it wasn't Vicky killing that shit, this track would not be the track it is today. I would have created a different instrumental, or I would have done something different over the instrumental, and it would have changed in so many ways. Like, a million things would have changed.
Yeah.
But she came in and she
murdered it.
Blew me away.
Blew
me away. I was so... Yeah, I was over the moon. She's great.
After everything that's happened, this calms everything down. It feels like the storm has ended.
Yeah.
And I feel just with the inclusion of everything, of Vicky, of the instrumental, of the guitar, it's a nice, it's a calming way to go home, really.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think you said earlier, like when you wanted to do this, the album like it's a movie. where Don't is kind of like the cold open,
Yeah.
whatever. This is like leading into the end credits, and then it's like the happy ending, right?
Yeah. This is the catharsis at the end of all of this horrible shit.
Exactly.
I feel like across Love and Final Farewell, it ties up everything.
Right.
There's nothing that's left to be wanted. By the time you hit the end of the record, to me it feels like so satisfying. Like you don't want to hear another track,
Yeah.
but you also didn't want to hear one track less.
That's true.
That's where I left the album. It was in that space where it was like we've hit a satisfactory, like this is the ending.
Yeah.
Wow. This moment of just holy shit. And like we've all been to the theater for that movie.
Yeah.
Like you tell me after I explain it to you. Tell me what movie this was for you. Where the movie ends and you just sit there and you stare at the screen and you're like, wow, I've just experienced something else. And you don't even say a word to nobody.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there watching the credits roll, and in your mind, a million things just run through your mind of like, I just experienced greatness here.
Oh yeah.
What movie was that for
It's
you?
Endgame. It's Endgame.
Endgame. See, Endgame's a great example of that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I wanted this album to be. And from the people that I showed the album to sitting like right next to me, or the people that we were sharing this experience with where I made this album, I had so many different people. I think I showed it to maybe 5 or 6 different people sitting next to me.
Right.
Not people that just listened to it but that were actually in the chair next to me listening to the record. I think there was like almost all of the people that did that.
Yeah.
When Love ended, it was just silence
Oh yeah.
for like
Minutes.
half a minute to a minute.
Yeah.
And just like this moment where I could see in their face of like, wow, like we've hit the end. Holy shit. Like, here we are. That is something that's important to me, and I don't take that for granted, and I don't, like, I couldn't have pictured it to end a better way.
Yeah.
It needed to be that. And man, like, it's humbling. It's humbling to be sitting there in the presence of that, where people are just awestruck by something you've done, and there's just people looking around like, what the fuck did I just hear?
Right. Overall, honestly, just an amazing album, amazing piece of art from you. From this album, you don't have to give anything away, but where do you, in what you're going to do next, like what you're going to release next, but where do you want to go from here? Where do you think your future lies from here? What's the next step with you?
There's a lot of opportunities on the table,
Yeah.
and there's a lot I want to do. I look at a lot of different people, and I feel influenced by a lot of different people that have made it,
Yeah.
because that's the only people I'm going to look to figure out where my next move goes. I don't look at people that don't make it and they try to tell me, well, I didn't make it, so you got to do it my way.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, you didn't make it, so I'm going to go a different way.
Yeah.
Right? I think what's next is realistically, music's going to keep going.
Yeah. Great.
But what does that mean in terms of, like, I have to be smart with how I do it,
Of course.
and I love making albums. I just don't know if albums is what I can do right now.
Okay.
But the issue is that everything I'm influenced by are album artists.
Yeah.
If you listen to this record, there's a lot of people you can hear in it.
Yes, of course.
I look at it and it's like, when I was making this record, you can hear in there a lot of Santana,
Yeah.
a lot of LCD Sound System, King Crimson, David Bowie, Prince, Hendrix. You hear, even Nirvana at points.
Yeah.
Right? You hear fucking when I was making this record, there's a lot of I was making a lot of these tracks under the premise of jazz structures.
Right.
So making this album, I sat down with a lot of jazz records. Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Pharoah Sanders, the Mahavishnu Orchestra, like lots of jazz structures that just blew me away as a child, as someone growing up listening to music.
Right.
And that's what I've always strived to do. I've never strived to be the hit guy.
Right.
Like, and I think you can hear that in the record. You don't hear necessarily hits all the way through.
Not necessarily, but
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're not hearing just like popular whatever, like
Club.
you can stream this a million times over.
Yeah.
There's not a song on this record that's shorter than 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And in the modern day, that's criminal.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
That's criminal. People cannot stomach something for that long, but that's what I do because that's what I want to do. You know, I'm listening, you know, in the process of making this record, I remember I was sitting down and I was listening to Journey and Satchidananda, Alice Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders, and I'm sitting there and listening to this. It's a spiritual jazz record, and I was just blown away by the way these tracks moved. And I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
How can I do that?
Yeah.
Not make these tracks, but how can I make something that's as transportative as these tracks are? And I feel like there's so many things across this record where you just forget you're listening to music. You're just in a different world.
Yeah.
Like, you just listen to it and it's like, oh my God, like you clock back in halfway through and you're like, wait a second, I'm listening to an album here. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And it's that transportative music, right? That's what Bowie does. That's Brian Eno. That's Aphex Twins. That's all these influences that I've grown up with to this point, manifesting itself into who I am today as an artist.
Yeah.
And you know, crafting this was everything.
Right.
We just watched Bo Burnham Inside,
Right.
which is brilliant.
Amazing.
Which is brilliant. A lot of people look at Inside and they see, you know, they see COVID. They see being stuck inside your house and you can't go nowhere and the world's falling apart and blah 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 blah. I don't see that. That's not what's brilliant about it to me. Because Bo Burnham's Inside is the artistic process.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You see at points in that he's talking about, you know, I want to finish the special, but if I finish the special, then I'm finished the special.
Yeah.
And I have nothing else to do, and it's just yours. So I'm just never going to finish it.
Right.
Fuck everybody. I'm just going to keep working till forever. So I'm not talking to anybody because this isn't coming out ever.
Right.
I'm just going to keep working. It's the artistic process inside the mind of an artist.
Yeah.
That's what this record was. That's what this process was. That's what everything about this was. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, like, for God's sake, at the end of last year, it was the worst time of, like, my life. Like, I thought I was going to explode.
Right.
I literally thought I was going to fucking lose it. But I'm glad I pushed through it, and now it's here, and this is the end.
Yeah.
This conversation here today, it's the end.
It's the end.
We're sitting here. We're talking about it. We're having a couple drinks. It's over. There's nothing more I can do about it. There's nothing more I can put forth. It's over, right? Tomorrow, these glasses are going to come off. This hair's going to go. This fucking demeanor ends. Don't say you love me if you don't, even though it's an endless loop, right? Don't say you love me if you don't. Say you love me if you don't. Say you love me if you don't. That's what the whole thing is. Love leads right back into don't. But the thing is that it's a loop that I'm going to have to exist outside the space of. That is shit. It's a shit feeling. And it hurts because going back to the start where we were talking about kids spreading their legs and we were, you know, like, you know, I'm joking, but all jokes aside, we were talking about that at the start of this, and this is what I mean. You're literally going to be left in the dust here. I'm going to be left in the dust by this record. It will outlive me. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on, and its legacy is going to eventually one day outwear the person that put it out. And I'm and I'm just going to be this figure that once did this, but the music is what exists. I don't. And it is crazy, and the love I received for it is brilliant, and it's beautiful and whatever, but the love doesn't manufacture anything, because I know the love doesn't mean it's a love for me. It's a love for the content. It's a love for the record. And that is important to me, but it's also the end of the road.
Yeah.
For now.
Don't say that you love me if you know who